thought I'd get it on film because it's rare. My lathe's clean. About to machine up some aluminium, so I've cleared the lathe, cleaned it right down, ready for that. But mill's a mess, so you know, swings and roundabouts. I hope it isn't like that all the way through. Bloody loads of them. I'm going to make these up anyway and hope they work, because it means I can make progress with my project. But I'm going to have to get some better aluminium or the degassing tablets that James said. So I'm just going to flip this round and show you. Still very warm. So there's a little void in there, but it's got to be hollowed out quite a bit. I had a right punch up with it getting that piece of steel out the end. Next time I'll put a bit more of a draft on it. I only put like about 2 degrees. But you can see it's kind of shit. Definitely, whilst it's cheap, it's not the best of things to do yet. I mean, I've got around, I don't know, maybe 40 or 50 kilograms of aluminium ingots from pop cans that I made up over a couple of weeks ago. So I want to use it because I've got it all, but I really need to, sorry about that, I really need to increase the quality. Let's see if I can quickly hollow that out, because it's not going to pick up on the centre too well. a restriction that I hadn't anticipated. When I cast these and I was originally planning this, I was wanting a wheel diameter of 4 inches, 100mm basically. Unfortunately, my fixed steady, the actual opening is only roughly 102 millimeters. So what I've had to do is turn them all down, both halves. I've turned them down to approximately 87 millimeters to give me a clean-up pass, as I'm going to make them 86mm when I'm done. I mean, I'm planning on probably remaking this. This one was at the bottom of the billet, and it's not as porous as the one that was towards the top of the billet. So my guess is some of the expansion pressure once you pour the mould, you know, having the top open, it just let everything sort of expand, contract freely. I should have had a restriction at the top of the mould to help to sort of contain that pressure, and I've got to look up degassing. I'll probably have to make some sort of argon purge or something along those lines. I had a conversation with someone yesterday on YouTube, channel I follow, and he sort of gave me a few ideas, pretty good advice, but at the same time some of the things he said also set my mind into motion of, like, was all the atmospheric contact along my little chute that I use for pouring, was that aiding in adding contamination into the billets, and also the cooling, like the amount of cooling that would happen as it's flowing down that chute, could that also contribute? Because James said, like, you know, having that long chute with steel and that isn't good for it. But it also got me on thinking about, like, the atmospheric contact and the atmospheric cooling. Another thing is possibly creating some kind of, like I said, a gas purge. That's real, and maybe hotter. I mean, I had it pretty hot. I think there's a limit to how hot you can get aluminium before it starts to change, like the alloy content and the sort of content of what it is, so it becomes a different thing and possibly unusable, I think. Anyway, yeah, so I'm just machining these up roughly to make them easier to hold in the lathe, and I've got to dig out some bearings for fit up and see where we go from there. This is the belt I'm going to be using. This is a 6x48 inch belt. It's the biggest belt I could get, like locally. Next, I've got to select some material to make the body of this grinder out of. I'm intending on making this sort of a 2-in-1 grinder, and you'll understand that as we get further in. This is going to look like I suppose a bit odd, but I used to work at a place that had these bloody great big grindmasters, they were called, and it's like a 1.5 meters wide belt sander basically, and we used to use it for putting grain on metal to make it look pretty because it was a sheet metal work company. I want to try and make this as a kind of a belt surface grinder and grinder, so we'll see what we can do about that in a minute. I was just thinking about using this bit of steel. This is it's 1 inch thick, I think it's 300mm wide, and it's about 8 foot long. I think I love that, look, metric and imperial measurements all in one. This was behind my friend's lathe or something. He had like a drainage ditch, like a drain inside of his unit, and he had the back of the lathe sat on this. Anyway, he got rid of the lathe and he gave me this bit of plate. However, it was given to me under the condition I had to put this in the back of my own car, and it's heavy. I'm pretty sure actually I've just had a better idea. This is probably a bad idea to remove this again. God, that's heavy. Okay. Jesus. Back in a minute. God, flip it now. I need to cut it anyway. So yeah, we're going to make it out of this. I've got to have a think. At the moment, this could be freestanding. I'm going to get the base, platen, most of the material will come out of this piece of I-beam for this project. But I'm just thinking, you know, this is quite possibly an alright working height for me. If I lift it up a couple more inches as well, with like the base, this could be okay. Only downside to it is it's going to be heavy. I mean, I can't lift this RSJ as one piece. No, I can't lift it completely off the ground as one piece. Kind of sort of bear hug it. But yeah, this is going to be heavy. So I've got to have a think now whether I want this to be like pedestal mounted or freestanding. I'm not sure. I have to have a think. Even so, even way, that took hours. I mean, it's not an ideal height to stand at, but sitting at it would be okay. Because also, I'm going to have the auto feed so as to feed parts underneath it.
12-inch belt would be nice.
Oh, that sucks. It stinks. Really like this grinder. It's actually on fire in there. Shit. And that finishes this grinder as well. There's a certain creek people apparently find themselves up now and again. I'm up a creek without an angle grinder. Shit. A little bit annoying that I've burnt out both my 4.5 and my 9-inch angle grinders. I guess we can't all have it work out every time. Bollocks. Kind of everything's on hold now. A bit disappointing because they were both look decent. Cheap makes, but they worked really well. So now I've got to go on Facebook and see if I can find a couple of cheap second-hand ones locally. Gutting. What else? I gave up yesterday trying to use the plasma cutter, going through that plate. It just kept sort of, as the arc was coming through, it was sort of dispersing. It wasn't staying as a perfect jet, it was kind of moving around, and I found I was getting like sort of an undercut to my edge, so I gave up on that and I changed over to a 9-inch grinder. So it had a good solid 6 hours of constant running yesterday, so it's no wonder it burnt out, I guess. My 4.5-inch angle grinder had about 15 minutes trying to go through the web of that RSJ. I just want to get like a nice flush, consistent line, but I killed my grinder, so very disappointing day.